study of abstract things like quantity, structure, shape and change. The study of mathematics started with numbers, that is natural numbers 1, 2, 3, etc., which came into existence through counting. Then 0 was added to the system of natural numbers, to the set of natural numbers. So we have whole numbers. Then whole numbers are contained in integers. Integers consist of positive, negative and 0. Then we have rationals. Rational numbers are of the form p by q, where q not equal to 0. So rational numbers is the biggest set and natural numbers is the smallest set. And then we have numbers which cannot be represented as p by q, that is numbers which are not rational or called as irrational numbers. Say for example square root of 2. So the union of rationals and irrationals forms the real number system. Now any problem you take in science and engineering, it can be expressed in the form f of x equals 0. So um, we have to find the unknown. Our objective is to find the unknown. You can have any number of unknowns. In general we say f of x equals 0, but f can have any number of unknowns. So there are three methods to find the value of unknown. First is analytical method, that is calculus. And second is numerical method, that is if analytical method fails you go for numerical methods. Third one is statistical methods. Every method has its own advantages and disadvantages. In analytical method we go for calculus, we get the exact solution. All problems cannot be solved easily by analytic method. If analytical method fails, we go for numerical methods. So in numerical methods we may not get the exact solution, but we will get a solution closer to the exact solution. So but numerical methods can be understood by anyone, and we have an algorithm for most of the methods. So we can feed the algorithm in the system to get the closest solution or the approximate solution. Then if both these method fails, we go for statistical method. So statistics is a study of data. So in problems, if you are not certain about the solution, whenever there is uncertainty, we go for probability. Say for example, you're tossing a coin n number of times, you're tossing a coin 100 times, you want to know how many heads you can get. So you may get head in all the 100 tosses, or you may not get head in all 100 tosses, or you may get head in some tosses, or you may not get head in some tosses. So whenever there is an uncertainty in the situation, we go for probability. So it is a measure of uncertainty of the event. So it is a quantity which lies between 0 and 1. So probability is a mathematical quantity. It is a measure of uncertainty or certainty of the event which lies between 0 and 1. So that is why you have combination of all these three in this engineering maths syllabus. So first year you have learnt analytic method and bit of numerical method. You must have learnt regular falsy and Newton-Raphson method. So, you will be learning numerical methods, statistical method in second year. Now so we will see some prerequisites. A set is said to be a well-defined collection of objects. A set is a well-defined collection of objects. Say for example set of even numbers, say set 2, 4, 6, etc. And f is said to be a function from set A to set B if to every element of A there exists an element y in B such that y equals f of x. For every element of A, there exists an element y in capital B such that y equals f of x. And say for example, let A be the set of third semester students and B be the set of 6 theories and 3 lab. So each and every student of third semester will be studying 6 theories and 3 labs. So this is a function. So f is said to be a function from set A to set B if to every element of A, for every element of A there exists an element y in B such that y equals f of x. Then we have the definition of a sequence. A sequence is a function from set of natural numbers to set of real numbers. It will have a pattern. So in general it is denoted by an. Sequence, you will read it as sequence an. first term a1, second term a2, third term a3, and so on. Say for example, sequence 1 by n, 1 by 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, etc. Now series is nothing but sum of the infinite terms of the sequence. Say for example, if we have the sequence of even numbers 2, 4, 6, etc. If you add the terms of the sequence, you will get the series. So 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus etc. equals summation to n. So the sum of the infinite terms of the sequence is called as the infinite series. See, the sequence can be finite or infinite, but more than finite sequence, infinite sequence interest us more. For infinite sequence have lots of applications. So if you have an infinite sequence, you have the corresponding infinite series. In practical cases, you have to deal with more of infinite series. So if you have the sequence 2, 4, 6, etc., that is infinite sequence, you can have the infinite series, that is 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus etc. A series is constructed from the sequence. If you add the terms of the sequence, you will get the series. So it is denoted by the symbol summation. Summation, what is a general term? 2n. So summation 2n. Now we have three types of sequence and series. There are three types of nature of the series: convergent, divergent, and oscillatory. So sequence is said to be convergent if the nth term as n tends to infinity is unique and finite. A sequence is said to be convergent if the nth term as n tends to infinity is unique and finite. So say for example 1 by n, we have the sequence 1 by n. So limit n tending to infinity, 1 by n tends to 0. So 0 is finite and unique, so we say that 1 by n is convergent. Say for example n, if the nth term is n, as n tends to infinity, limit n tending to infinity of n is infinity. So if the nth term tends to plus or minus infinity, then we say that the sequence is divergent. And consider another example, sequence minus 1 whole power n. So the terms will be, if n is 1, minus 1, if n is 2, plus 1, if n is 3, minus 1, if n is 4, plus 1, etc. So if you take this sequence, sum to even number of terms is 0, sum to odd number of terms is minus 1. So the sequence oscillates between minus 1 and plus 1. The sequence oscillates between minus 1 and plus 1. So it has two limits. If you take the sum of even number of terms, say for example minus 1 plus 1, 0. Sum of the first 4 terms, 0. But if you take the first term, minus 1. Sum of the first 3 terms, minus 1. So since it has two limits, since the sequence oscillates between two finite limits, we say that the sequence is oscillatory. So accordingly, we have three types of nature of the series: convergent series, divergent series, and oscillatory series. So to understand Fourier series, it's enough if you know convergence. I'll be explaining this again. Now you must have learned Taylor series. Taylor series, what is Taylor series of f of x about the point x equals a? It is defined as f of x equals f of a plus x minus a by 1 factorial f dash of a plus x minus a whole square by 2 factorial f double dash of a plus x minus a whole cube by 3 factorial f triple dash of a plus etc. So a Taylor series is for continuous functions. Any continuous function can be expanded in powers of x minus a. Any continuous function f of x can be expanded in powers of x minus a. You see, x minus a the whole power 1, x minus a whole square, x minus a whole cube plus etc. And you have the terms f dash of a, f double dash of a, f triple dash of a plus etc. So any continuous function f of x can be expanded in ascending powers of x minus a, or the ascending derivatives of f of a. And Taylor series is only for continuous functions. And if the point a is 0, Taylor series becomes Maclaurin series. So f of x equals f of 0 plus x by 1 factorial f dash of 0, x square by 2 factorial f double dash of 0 plus etc. So you have, this is Maclaurin series. So you must have learned Maclaurin series for sin x, cos x, e power x, log of 1 plus x and so on. So Taylor series and Maclaurin series are only for continuous functions. Next we have the definition of periodic function. So before getting into the Fourier series, you should know what is a periodic function. A function f of x is said to be periodic function if there exists a constant, positive constant capital T such that f of x plus t equals f of x for all x, where t is the fundamental period. So function f of x is said to be periodic if there exists t greater than 0 such that f of x plus t equals f of x for all x. Say for example, sin x, sin 0 0, sin pi by 2 1, sin pi 0, sin 3 pi by 2 minus 1, sin 2 pi 0. So we have the values of sine function from 0 to 2 pi. Similarly, we have the values of sin pi from 2 pi to 4 pi. Sin 2 pi 0, sin 5 pi by 2 1, sin 3 pi 0, sin 7 pi by 2 minus 1, sin 4 pi 0. If you now we have the values of sin x in the open interval 0 2 pi and open interval 2 pi 4 pi. The length of the interval is the difference between the endpoints. So the length of this interval is 2 pi minus 0 2 pi. The length of this interval is 4 pi minus 2 pi equals 2 pi. So if we see the values of sine function repeats for every interval of length 2 pi. The values of sine function are same from 0 to 2 pi and 2 pi to 4 pi. So sine function is periodic with period 2 pi. See the pattern of the graph from sine from 0 to 2 pi is same as the pattern of the graph from 2 pi to 4 pi. You have the same pattern of sin x from 0 to 2 pi and from 2 pi to 4 pi. So sine of x plus 2 pi is sin x. So sin x is periodic with the period 2 pi. So this is the simplest example of periodic function. Similarly, we can say that cos x is periodic with the period 2 pi. So sin x is same as sine of x plus 2 pi. If you say 2 pi is the period, multiples of 2 pi are also the periods. If you say 2 pi is the period, multiples of 2 pi are also the periods. So sin x equals sine of x plus 2 pi. 4 pi is multiple of 2 pi. Sine of x plus 4 pi, sine of x plus 6 pi equals etc. So 2 pi is the fundamental period or the period. Next we have the concept discontinuous function. So function which is not continuous is called as discontinuous. The graph of continuous function will be smooth. There will not be any break at any point. The continuous function will be smooth, but discontinuous function will have break. It will not be smooth throughout. See, this function has a break at x equals 0. So from minus 1 to, you see here, mod x minus x from x less than 0 plus x when x greater than or equal to 0. So it breaks at x equals 0. So it is discontinuous at x equals 0 but continuous at all other points. So mod x has a discontinuity only at x equals 0. So this is a simple example of discontinuous function. So you should remember these prerequisites for understanding the Fourier series. If you have doubts, you can call me or send message in WhatsApp.